Hi, I'm Kellee B. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Running on Empty, where my tank is half full, or as you may have guessed, running on fumes. Please sit back, relax, and enjoy the journey. Everyone is family here. Please subscribe, like, and share. Shh. Don't tell anyone. It's a secret. This is what families live with when a family member struggles with a serious mental illness. The family closes itself off from the other people. They have very few people in their circle. Another thing a parent suffers with is that this is viewed as their fault. They carry a burden that very few understand. This journey begins with the birth of my beautiful daughter. She was a precious gift that arrived. She seemed more fragile and smaller than her siblings. She couldn't stand to be put down or separated from her family. Symptoms of severe separation anxiety occurred at a very early age. My daughter has struggled with a very long battle of having a mental illness. She was diagnosed before she entered kindergarten. At that time, the diagnosis was not concrete and it was not accepted among all mental health professionals. She was given the hefty diagnosis of bipolar disorder. If you know anything about this condition, you realize that mental health professionals did not believe in giving this diagnosis to a child. It was the closest thing I had for what she was dealing with, but even with this diagnosis, no one seemed to have answers for the demons that my daughter was fighting from within herself. She experienced hallucinations. Her imaginary friends appeared and never went away. According to the American Psychological Association, bipolar disorder is a serious mental illness in which common emotions become intensely and often unpredictably magnified. Individuals with bipolar disorder can quickly swing from extremes of happiness, energy, and clarity to sadness, fatigue, and confusion. The shifts can be so devastating that individuals may choose suicide. At a very early age, it became apparent to me that MJ was going through something that I had never seen. She had a terrible case of the terrible twos that never went away. I began questioning her pediatrician about this. He reassured me that I was worrying too much and this behavior would go away. He told me that my career as a special education teacher was making me think that it was not normal. By the time that she turned 5, I didn't think that this behavior was going to go away. I started reaching out to other professionals. I finally took her to a neurologist. He referred her to a child psychiatrist. We waited for 6 weeks to get into this doctor. We counted down the days until we could take her to this appointment. Her behavior was so extreme. She had no fear of getting hurt. She would climb trees that were over 2 stories tall. She would climb out second-story windows and try to jump. She would climb to the top of the garage and she would bolt out of the house and disappear. She never slept during this time, which meant we never did either. That doesn't even include the tantrums that never ended. We were exhausted and at the end of our rope. The day of the appointment finally arrived. The child psychiatrist listened to my mom and I close to 2 hours that day as my daughter climbed under the chairs, got into things, and struggled with being stuck in the small office. She had diagnosed her with bipolar disorder, non-specified. She also referred her to a therapist that would begin to eventually work with my daughter, her siblings, and myself. All of us were being ravaged by this monstrous condition that my daughter was struggling with. It is important for me to mention how strong that I think every member of my family is. All of us were going through hell. All of her siblings and grandmother helped in their own way. I know that this journey has been so hard on all of them. I hope that they all know how much I love, admire, and appreciate them for never giving up on their sister, and how they helped pick me up when I stumbled and fell along the way. Throughout the years, MJ struggled significantly. Her symptoms were never completely under control. Just when we thought we could breathe a sigh of relief, her medication would stop working. The doctor would try something else. She was hospitalized several times during some of the worst relapses. She always hated being hospitalized because I think she viewed it as a punishment, and she was not with us, which she truly hated. As she got older, her symptoms began to change. Instead of the aggressive outbursts, she began to sink into herself. She became very depressed. MJ has reoccurring hallucinations of demons. The demons were always after her. At times, family members would transform into the demons. I can only imagine how horrific that must be for her to experience. At one point, when she was hospitalized, the demons were after her. I asked her if she thought they were real, and she said yes, they're real. So then I told her, well, if the demons were real, then the angels must be real as well, and that she should call to them for help if the demons were after her. It seems to help. The hallucinations began to become more apparent. She was seeing and hearing things that were not there. She had a black cat appear on a regular basis and talk to her. Unfortunately, this cat was telling her to jump from the second floor of the apartment. Eventually she did. Fortunately, she was not seriously injured. This condition has profoundly affected MJ's life in every possible way. She had an extremely difficult time attending school. She missed an excessive amount of school due to depression and severe anxiety. The schools were never very understanding about her missing so much school. The attitude seemed to be that she was just being non-compliant and refusing to go. Invisible disabilities are so much harder for people to understand. Eventually, she started going to an online academy. She has not had the same experiences of having a lot of friends or going on play dates and parties. Recently, she has made one good friend, though, and that he seems to understand her. I am so grateful for this. Well, MJ is now 20 years old. As a parent, I worry about her future. I recently helped her apply for vocational rehabilitation because she has been denied SSI several times. They had a clinical psychologist do a major testing. As a result, she was diagnosed with a new diagnosis. It is schizoaffective disorder. The voc rehab counselor briefly brushed over this diagnosis as I reeled in the office. She was not the right person to ask about this, so when we were done, I went home, read the report word for word, and began to do my research, which I will now share with you. According to the WebMD, schizoaffective disorder is a chronic mental health condition that involves symptoms of both schizophrenia and a mood disorder like major depressive disorder or bipolar disorder. According to the Mayo Clinic, both schizoaffective disorders include some symptoms of schizophrenia. The depressive type includes only major depressive episodes. The bipolar type of schizoaffective disorder includes episodes of mania and sometimes major episodes of depression. According to the Mayo Clinic, schizoaffective disorder symptoms may vary from person to person. People with the condition experience psychotic symptoms such as hallucinations or delusions, as well as symptoms of mood disorder, either bipolar type or the depressive type. The course of schizoaffective disorder usually features cycles of severe symptoms followed by periods of improvement with less severe symptoms. Signs and symptoms of schizoaffective disorder depend on the type, bipolar or depressive type, and may include, among others, delusions, having false fixed beliefs despite evidence of the contrary, hallucinations such as hearing voices or seeing things that aren't there, symptoms of depression such as feeling empty, sad, or worthless, periods of manic mood or a sudden increase in energy with behaviors that are out of character, impaired communication such as only partially answering questions or giving answers that are completely unrelated, impaired occupational, academic, and social functioning, and problems with managing personal care, including cleanliness and physical appearance. According to the National Alliance on Mental Illness, the exact cause of schizoaffective disorder is unknown. A combination of factors may contribute to the development of schizoaffective disorder. These factors could be genetics, brain chemistry, stress, and drug use. Complications that are associated with schizoaffective disorder are at an increased risk of suicide or suicidal attempts and suicidal thoughts, social isolation, family and interpersonal conflicts, unemployment, anxiety disorders, developing alcohol or other substance abuse problems, significant health problems, and poverty and homelessness. I look back at all the years that MJ has struggled with this overwhelming condition and realize how fortunate it is that we still have her with us. I'm incredibly proud of her for continuing to fight the demons. Diagnosing schizoaffective disorder cannot be done by laboratory tests. Doctors rely on medical history and your answers to certain questions, such as a clinical interview. They will also determine if there are any physical causes by using MRIs and blood tests. There are other factors that doctors consider in order to get diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder. You must have periods of uninterrupted illness, an episode of mania, major depression, or a mix of both, symptoms of schizophrenia, and at least 2 periods of psychotic symptoms, each lasting 2 weeks. One of the episodes must happen without depressive or manic symptoms. According to the WebMD, there are many factors that will be considered for the treatment of schizoaffective disorder. First of all, what medications that are prescribed will depend on the symptoms of the person that is suffering with the condition. Also, psychotherapy may be included in helping the person deal with their condition. Skills training will help them focus on work and social skills, grooming and self-care, and other day-to-day activities, including money and home management. Hospitalization may be needed if psychotic episodes are present, especially if you're suicidal or threaten to hurt others. Also, electroconvulsive therapy may be considered. This treatment may be an option for adults who don't respond to psychotherapy or medications. It involves sending a quick electric current through the brain. You'll get a type of medicine called general anesthesia to help you sleep through it. It causes a brief seizure. Doctors use it because they think it changes your brain chemistry and may reverse some conditions. I'm sorry, folks, but I don't know if I like that one. On a side note, only 3/100% of the population are likely to get schizoaffective disorder. It's equally as likely to affect men and women, but men usually get it at a younger age. Doctors can help manage it, but most people diagnosed with it have relapses. Unfortunately, there is no way to prevent this condition, but if you're diagnosed and start treatment as soon as possible, it can help you avoid or ease frequent relapses and hospitalizations, and help cut the disruptions in your life, family, and friendships. Schizoaffective disorder requires ongoing treatment and support. People with schizoaffective disorder can benefit from learning about the disorder. Education about schizoaffective disorder may help the person stick to a treatment plan. Paying attention to warning signs. Identify things that may trigger symptoms or interfere with carrying out daily activities. Join a support group. Support groups can help make connections with others facing similar challenges. Asking about social services assistance. These activities or services may be able to help with affordable housing, transportation, and daily activities. This video is dedicated to my beautiful, talented, creative daughter, MJ. May she always have a song in her heart. If you are struggling with a mental illness or you have a loved one that suffers from one, don't ever give up. Seek help and remember that you are not alone. Thank you for watching my video. Please subscribe, like, and share. Much love to all of you.